Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's worth your time and bandwidth.
Today's game is Mass Effect, the first one. BioWare's massive, space opera series starts with a bang, but does this over 15-year-old game hold up? Let's find out. Mass Effect is a third-person squad shooter with RPG elements that solidified BioWare's reputation in the industry, and originally was an Xbox 360 exclusive. Y'all remember that? You play as Commander Shepard of your own design, who on a rescue mission sees a vision of an impending galactic invasion led by a rogue alien Spectre, Soren. Now it's a race against time to stop Soren, gain the political backing you need, and figure out exactly what's going on. The story is compelling enough, feeling a bit like the first part of a multi-episode arc of TNG, but what really shines is the world, or rather universe building. Multiple alien races coexist across the galaxy, each with in-depth histories, interactions, prejudices, and more to deal with. Humans are newcomers to this galactic Game of Thrones, and learning to navigate it politically is a core part of the story. Gameplay-wise, Mass Effect is usually split between a few methods of play. From your ship, the Normandy, you can fly all over the galaxy, checking out planets from orbit and landing on a few that contain side missions or just resources. After driving around a planet in the world's jankiest dune buggy, you'll often engage in some copy-paste third-person shooting zones. Shooting is kind of cover-based, but honestly is pretty janky too, though it's supplemented by both having two squad mates and a whole host of powers. It's an RPG after all, so expect leveling up and learning new skills based on which class you picked at the start, so forming a perfect team is core. This is in addition to a rather ridiculous loot system to gather and customize new guns and armor. Outside of combat, there's plenty of dialogue and interaction. The beginning of the game starts with a long journey to the Citadel, basically the Space United Nations, with almost zero quests involving shooting, and instead leading into dialogue and political intrigue. The game is from the PS360 gen, so it has a pseudo-morality system, Paragon and Renegade, though it usually boils down to whether you say something nice or say the same thing just kinda mean. Main missions follow similar flows to side ones, with third-person shooting hallways interconnected with linear dune buggy segments more often than not. And that's really Mass Effect, the start of a well-loved sci-fi series, while still maintaining plenty of that BioWare-era jankiness. So what I like about the first Mass Effect? Well, the world building here is what stands out. Big events like the Krogan Genophage or the Quarian and Geth War may be in the background of your story, but their effects ripple through everything you do and every conversation you have. It's extremely compelling, you want to learn more. Additionally, the characters are excellent. While I wish you could get to know them better like in 2, there's reasons Garrus, Rex, and Tali are fan favorites. The strong personalities and interesting conversations you have with them are the heart of Mass Effect. And lastly, I just love this game's visual vibe, and vibe in general. From the dialogue system allowing for interesting twists, the Citadel being an overly large quest cornucopia that I love wandering around in, even exploring worlds in the stupid Mako. It really feels like a vast space odyssey. When it comes to the bad, replaying Mass Effect, I was shocked by how much it wastes your time. So much driving around even if you beeline objectives. So many back-to-back third-person shooting segments that aren't really engaging. So much selecting planets to see if they're scannable or landable. Mass Effect makes you work for its good bits. Additionally, the shooting is meh, but honestly I never had much of an issue with it, but what I did dislike was the absolutely convoluted weapon and upgrade system paired with an exacerbating amount of loot. This is on top of having to manage your squad's loot as well as their powers. It's tedious. And lastly, yeah, I hate the Mako. I admit they sort of fixed it in Legendary Edition, and I do kind of zen out using it, but I think the real culprit here is the way the planets are designed without it in mind, making traversal extremely obnoxious. As you know, in rate games turn out 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, and don't bother. And I have an extremely soft spot for Mass Effect 1, a game I fell in love with playing on my old MacBook instead of paying attention in college. It sets the stage for something great, and while its macro story is fairly standard, the micro elements shine. That being said, it's certainly a bit rough today, with its shooting very ho-hum, power spam being broken, and it filled to the brim with stuff that just wastes your time. Regardless, I absolutely think this series is worth playing, and this game is still fun enough if you want to see it through and beyond. It has rough edges and is pretty janky, but it's a charming jank. And if we're being honest, this and Dragon Age Origins pretty much marked the end of the jank era for BioWare, which honestly I kind of miss. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you played Mass Effect 1 recently, did you play it when it came out like I did? I'm pretty sure I've beaten this one more than the sequels for whatever reason. Maybe I just love the Citadel too much, I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comments, and regardless, go out there and make sure you give Mass Effect a look.